Now, before we get to that treehouse story, there is another wrinkle in the Mcelheny case. Joseph Mcelheny was acquitted of killing his baby girl, but now he may have to fight to get back his other child. We're joined by WGY legal analyst Paul Harding of Martin Harding in Mazzati. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, bright and early.
Yes, it is. Now, I don't know that a lot of people knew that this couple had another baby that was taken a day after she was born because of the accusations against the father. There were no charges against the mom, and the child was taken anyway. And I'm wondering two questions. One, how can they take that child? And two, why do they essentially have to prove their innocence all over again through the family court system, even though he's been acquitted?
You know, the Department of Social Services has a very, very unique and broad structure, and there are facts which are certainly not out in the public, because no one knows anything. This was kind of a shock when this happened, or when this was revealed. But obviously, they have enough information that they felt it was in the child's best interest to remove the child from them. And again, it could be on a very temporary basis. So I don't know the specifics, but I do know that there are parents whose children are taken away for days or weeks when they find the sufficient information. So it certainly is catching some headlines here. I don't know the specifics, but I do know they have a broad ability to protect the child.
Now, I know this particular case spans 2 states, and there's different sets of laws for each state regarding all this. So they might have a long battle ahead of them before they get their baby back.
It's hard to say, or it may be something where they just feel that right now they're just not in a position to do it, or there could be a very serious allegation that's going to be revealed. We just don't know, but we do know that when the child protective does this, they meet certain criteria. They have to meet certain criteria. They get approval, and then they do it. So whatever's hanging out there is serious enough to at least remove the child for what could be a very short period of time, or we may be having another bomb dropped on us with that family.
Onto this treehouse case, and it's enough to make your blood boil. I'm glad to see other states. I'm glad to see other states, not just New York, are messing with their citizens. But this is a guy in Virginia who he even called the zoning department and said, "Hey, can I build a treehouse?" And the guy laughed at him and said, "There's no zoning for treehouses." So the guy builds a treehouse for his kids, and then he's in trouble all of a sudden.
Yeah, talk about a much lighter and softer story.
Yeah.
This case is one that I actually made some phone calls myself, and I found it split locally here, that when you call and you ask for a tree house up, number one, what's the tree house? I mean, there are tree houses that look like condominiums. There are tree houses that are very sophisticated.
Right.
And then there's the one that I had growing up where you had a couple boards across a few branches, and you called it a tree house.
Yeah.
So as the structure's added, the safe thing to do is to call the town. Now, Chuck, you bring up a good point. I called the town. They laughed at me. They told, well, you get something in writing when you call it. It sounds over the top, but you get something in writing when you have something that you're going to make a structural change to your premises, pull a permit, or if they say no permit required, they can just send you an email.
Mm-hmm.
I think the larger issue now, though, is once he built this treehouse, it wasn't a little couple of boards slapped together like we had, too.
No,
it was a $1,400 treehouse, and he built it complete with shingles and clapboard siding. And now he's got this in his house in his yard for his kids. Now the town is telling him he's got to tear it down.
Yeah, that's an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure coming at you. I don't know if he's going to have to tear it down. It is still being debated, but now he's involved in a legal battle. So when you're going to do a substantial change like that, you need to make that. Now, it is the kind of case that makes everybody crazy. It's a treehouse. But I don't, you can't build things that are generally unsafe, that might block a view. When you live out in Duanesburg, or you live out in Rotterdam, where I grew up, you could pull some of that stuff off. There's just nobody around you, and nobody cared. But this is Fairfax County, Virginia, and if you ever spent any time down there, it is a pretty manicured county, and I think it just made sense that he was going to build a structure like that he was going to at least have to get something in writing.
Well, yeah, and you make a great point. Get it in writing, even if it seems silly. It's just like, if you call the IRS and they give you bad advice, that's still on you, So,
right.
Hey, Paul, thanks for the time. Great info. We'll talk again. Paul Harding, Martin Harding and Mazzati, 1-800-LAW-1010